The year 2021 saw the chaotic withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan. After 2 decades of war, the pullout marked the end of America's longest conflict. The withdrawal was messy. The Afghan government, propped up by the U.S. for years, crumbled. The Taliban, against expectations, swiftly seized control of the country. In the rush to leave, the U.S. abandoned billions of dollars worth of military equipment. This equipment, ironically, was meant to bolster the Afghan army against the very group that now possesses it. The U.S. withdrawal was widely criticized. Many saw it as a betrayal of the Afghan people, particularly those who had sided with the U.S. during the conflict. The speed of the Taliban's victory surprised many, and the scenes of chaos at Kabul airport as people desperately tried to flee were broadcast around the world. The hasty retreat left a vacuum in Afghanistan. The Taliban, now armed with captured U.S. weapons, solidified their grip on power. The abandoned equipment meant to equip a modern army has now become a source of instability and a threat to regional and global security. The question now arises, what will be the legacy of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan? The Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan in 2021 wasn't just a political victory, it was a logistical one. The retreating U.S. forces left behind an astonishing arsenal. This wasn't just small arms and ammunition. The Taliban now possessed advanced weaponry, much of it American-made. We're talking about M4 and M16 rifles, the standard firearms of the U.S. military. But it goes beyond that. Humvees, helicopters, even artillery pieces were now in the hands of the Taliban. It's hard to overstate the significance of this windfall for the Taliban. They went from a guerrilla force to a heavily armed military almost overnight. The captured U.S. equipment significantly bolstered their capabilities, giving them a decisive edge in their rapid conquest of Afghanistan. The sudden influx of advanced weaponry had shifted the balance of power, emboldening the Taliban and raising serious concerns about the future stability of the region. The U.S. government has been tight-lipped about the exact quantity and types of weapons left behind. Estimates vary, but some put the figure at over 1 million pieces of weaponry. This includes everything from rifles and grenades to night vision goggles and sophisticated communication equipment. This lack of transparency has fueled criticism. Many argue that the U.S. has a responsibility to account for the weapons it left behind and to take steps to mitigate the risks they pose. The Taliban's sudden acquisition of U.S. weaponry sent shockwaves through the region. Concerns about these weapons falling into the wrong hands were quickly realized. Reports emerged of weapons being smuggled across borders, ending up in the hands of various militant groups. The Taliban's control over their vast new arsenal was questionable, and the porous borders of Afghanistan provided ample opportunity for illicit trafficking. One group of particular concern is the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP. This group, with close ties to the Afghan Taliban, has been waging an insurgency against the Pakistani government for years. The TTP's access to U.S. weapons, whether through direct transfers from the Taliban or black market purchases, has significantly bolstered their capabilities. This has led to an escalation of violence in Pakistan, with the TTP carrying out increasingly daring and deadly attacks. The flow of weapons hasn't been limited to Pakistan. There's evidence that U.S. weapons from Afghanistan have made their way to groups in Central Asia, Iran, and even parts of Africa. The proliferation of these weapons has destabilized the entire region. It has empowered militant groups, fueled insurgencies, and heightened the risk of larger conflicts. Perhaps the most worrying aspect of this situation is the unknown. The Taliban themselves have admitted that a large portion of the U.S. weapons they seized are unaccounted for. That's right, hundreds of thousands of firearms, explosives, and other military equipment have simply vanished into thin air. This lack of accountability creates a breeding ground for further instability and violence. It's a ticking time bomb that threatens not just Afghanistan and its neighbors, but potentially the entire world. The implications of this are chilling. Imagine these weapons being used in terrorist attacks, not just in the region, but potentially anywhere in the world. Imagine them fueling civil wars, empowering criminal networks, and further destabilizing already volatile regions. The international community is faced with a difficult dilemma. Reclaiming these weapons seems like an impossible task. The Taliban are unlikely to cooperate, and any attempt at military intervention would be costly and risky. The focus now has to be on containment, trying to limit the flow of weapons and track down those that have already disappeared. However, given the scale of the problem and the challenges involved, it's a daunting task with no easy solutions.